Hello, everybody. Blue Thunder here. Welcome to LeetCode Contest Corner. It is week 352. This week was something. We'll look down here, and you might be like, "Whoa, Blue Thunder! Huh, you couldn't even get one done. Oh, this must have been a pretty rough week." Um, well, my friends might have been playing Mario Party. I might have wanted to join them. And I tried to get it done while I was playing Mario Party. Didn't do so well, obviously. Um, I did do it though. To be clear, I did the one. I did the longest even odd subarray. I did a quick look at this. I don't think. Yeah, you give it an entry and the blah blah blah. I don't know. Prime numbers. Yeah, it's dealing with 2D arrays. Which is a little confusing. I know I get how they work a little bit, but I just haven't worked with them in forever, so I don't. It's a bit beyond my pay grade right now. Um, Maybe I would have been able to do it, but I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. I got free time in my life. I'm not gonna spend time working when I can play games with my friends. Maybe that's a bad idea. I don't know. But I'm sticking to my thing. Importantly, I practiced this week. That's what I think the important thing is. Make sure you practice. And I did finish it eventually. Anyways, um, as always, I try to remember. Congratulations, Penguin Hacker, for getting first place. Good job, good job. So let's get into it. Longest even odd subarray with threshold. Okay. Or as a reminder, I'm going to read through the description here, and then I'll try to describe it to you if you don't get it. Try to make it understandable, and then I'll show you my code. Okay. You're given a zero indexed integer array nums and integer threshold. Find the length of the longest subarray of nums starting at index L and ending at index R. Uh, 0, which means 0 is less than or equal to L, which is less than or equal to R, which is less than nums.length. That satisfies the following conditions. Num L mod 2 equals 0 for all indices in the range L R to R minus 1. Nums I mod 2 does not equal nums I plus 1 mod 2. For all indices I in the range L to R, nums I is less than or equal to threshold. Return an integer denoting the length of the longest such a subarray. Note, a subarray is a contiguous non-empty sequence of elements within an array. Oh boy, that sounds like a lot. And trust me, while I was trying to get stars and I was trying to read this at the same time, whoa, this was like, what the frick? But it's not too bad. Okay, so as a reminder, a zero indexed array just means it's an array that starts at the index 0. Um, yeah, so that's that. If you don't know what that is, we got an array nums and a threshold, which this is just a number. I think down here number is can be 1 all the way to 100. Um, just basically, it's not a negative number. Theoretically, you could code this with bigger numbers than 100. That doesn't matter, but they're just saying, hey, it's between 100. Just make things simple. Um, so what are we trying to do? Um, okay, so let's see. So here, let's look at this for example. So we got 3, 2, 4, 5. Sorry, 3, 2, 5, 4 as the array, and the threshold is 5. Now we're trying to find a specific subarray. Okay, kind of. We're trying to find, yes, okay, let us say. We're trying to find a subarray within this and find the length of that subarray. And then that's our output, the length of the subarray. Okay? So if If this was the just if this was the subarray we found, we would give 2. If 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 this is the subarray, we would return 3. If this is the subarray we find, it's 4. And guess what? This is the subarray, we would return 1. Okay. So what subarray are we looking for? What are the conditions? Well, right here. Num nums L mod 2 equals 0. Okay. What does that mean? So basically, um, this whole thing is saying L is the first in the first number, the first index, I guess, of the subarray. Yeah, L is the first index of the subarray that we're looking through. Okay, so this is saying, this is mod. If you don't, so this what mod does is basically like it takes a number. Take a number and then mod it by something. It takes like say 10 mod 2. It takes 10 divided by 2, and then it returns you the remainder. So 10 mod 2 would be 10 divided by 2 is 5. There's no remainder, so it returns 0. Um, 10 or 9 mod 2 would be 9 divided by 2 is about 4, and it would give you a remainder of 1. So that's what modding is. But this, especially, this is since it's modding 2. This is basically saying, hey, we're looking for this number to be an even number, right? Any even number, mod 2 is gonna give a 0. So this is saying the first number of the subarray needs to be even. That's what this is saying. Okay, the first number is even. All right. Then for all indices I in the subarray, um, nums I mod 2 does not equal nums I plus 1 mod 2. What does that mean? It's a little weird, but that's just saying, so that's saying nums I, um, if this is even, then this can't be even. See, they're both modding 2 and they can't equal each other. So if this is even, this has to be odd. If this is one is odd, then this one has to be even. Okay? So it's saying that the subarray that we're looking for first it starts with an even number and then it switches, right? So okay, so obviously we start with even, so we start with 2. The next one has to be odd, which is 5. So that's odd, that's right. So then we increase I by 1 like a for loop. So we start with 5, and then the next one has to be even. It's 4, it's even. So that's right. Okay. So it appears we found our subarray, right? And one more thing, this is the kicker. This will kind of got me confused. I think I might have, honestly, thinking back, I think I would have done it if I understood this last part. Because looking back, like I thought I had something wrong, but theoretically my code was correct, um, if this last part was different. But this last part is important. For all indices I in the range of the subarray, nums I is less than or equal than the threshold. What does that mean? That means if we go down here, for this one, so we think, oh, for the previous ones, okay, it starts as an even number. It goes 2, 3, 4, 5. That it switches even, odd, even, odd. So, okay, so this it should be 4, right? But this last one, 5, it is greater than threshold 4, so we don't want to count that one, so we kick it out. So the result here is 3. So that's what we're doing. So that's what threshold means. And then this one, we start with this one, 2, 5 is not greater than the 5 threshold, 4, and so that gives us a result of 3. Okay? It's a lot to take in, I think, but it's really not too bad, right? It's like the coding part is like hard to look at, but it's not too bad. All each thing is saying, it's like this one's saying, hey, the subarray. So we're looking for a subarray. The first of the subarray is even, and then it switches between even and odd, and then it's saying none of the numbers can be bigger than this number. That's not too bad, I don't think. Um, that's probably why it's an easy. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. So now we got to find it. All right, let's get into the code. All right, so here is my method. Sorry, excuse me. Okay. Um, uh, so we'll get started. We got the nums and the threshold. Um, I got two variables here, count and biggest. These are help to keep track of how big the arrays are, the subarrays are. Since I don't know if anyone else did, but I didn't feel the need to create another array, actually. I don't think it would have been easier. I thought about it a little bit, but it didn't seem like it would be easier. Um, yeah, so count keeps track of how many are in the array, like that. As we're testing a subarray, that count keeps track of it, and then biggest gives us the biggest subarray that we found so far that that follows all the conditions. All right. Whew, okay, so start with this for loop. I tried my best to keep with the conventions. There's no R. I might have yeah. There's no R involved, but there is an L. So we start with this int L equals 0. Um, yeah. So this first for loop, this is like we're going through. This for loop is gonna go through each number of the array. And this is basically going to be like, okay, what is the best starting point? Is the current starting point even a starting point we can use? So that's what this is. We're going through all the L's to see for a good starting point, and then that's where this first if statement comes in. So it's saying if L mod 2 equals 0, so ignore this for a minute. If it equals 0, then increase the count because that's our first one. That's the first number in the subarray, and then we can continue. See, otherwise, if we go down here, if it doesn't equal 2, if it's an odd number, we go to this else, we go to continue, which if you don't know, it skips all the other stuff in the for loop, and then it does the increment counter or the decrement if it's a L minus minus, and it starts from the beginning. So it's just continue, just skip and continue, um, and we can check the next one. But if it is even, then we can increase the count. But also, it checks if the number itself is less than the threshold. Um, I think it's later on. I got confused. See, what I thought the threshold meant, this is important. This is a mistake I made. I didn't post it though. I made sure to check. I didn't have any bugs this time. I thought the threshold meant how big the subarray can be, the biggest subarray. So I had it more down here when we kind of count how big the subarray is. That's not what it is, obviously. The threshold is just how big each number in the array that we're counting can be. So that's important. It's important to check, to read and stuff. So that, yep, it checks both of those. This is an and boy. Is if both of them are true, then it goes through. If one of them is false, then it is lost. I don't know. I tried to rhyme. Um, yeah, so okay, so we keep going. So then we got a good starting point. Then we have to check um if it if it alternates between even and odd. So we start at the starting point. So I equals L, and that's the starting point. Then we keep going until the end of the array. So the length minus one. This is important um because later on, like right here, we're gonna do I plus one. So it's going to go to the end, but we don't want to go over past the array, so we need to make sure it's minus 1. Okay, so then we get into this next part. So the current number like it's the same thing as in the instructions. It's and honestly, it's probably is the same because um I wasn't really concentrating again. I was partying it up. So, but yeah, as simple as this, just is if I is even and I plus one is odd, then we're good. Um, and we increase the count. Um, so and then yeah, then that ignoring this for a minute again. Then we increment the counter. And this is important. Um, yeah. Okay. So yeah. So we keep going. Sorry, I'm a little. Yeah. Right. And it's important to know. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to think my best way to word this, but yeah, it counts for each number that we go through, basically. And so it'll be 0 and 1 check, and 1 and 2 check, 2 and 3, and yeah, checking if they're alternating. Now we need to keep track. Um, if just imagine like this would work fine. This works fine if we ignore the threshold. If the threshold thing was the thing, if we didn't worry about the number size, then this would work fine. But you need to keep. But I made a mistake, or when I was making this, I needed to check the threshold, right? Um, so we're checking the numbers. I checked nums I if nums I is less than the threshold. But if you're keeping track, that won't work because, so remember, L is 0. We'll just start with L is 0. Um, so we already check here num 0 if it's less than the threshold. Then we come over here, I will equal L, which is still 0. So if we do this, we're just checking the first number again. So then when we get to the end, we don't check if the last number is less than the threshold, right? So because of that, you don't. That's important, right? And that's actually what messed me up once, um, as I was working. The 5 here, that was bigger than the threshold, and that's where the issue came in because I was checking. We got to 4 and 5, was checking the 4. Hey, that's not bigger than the threshold, so that's fine. So and it increased, and then it was done. It was like, oh, okay, um, we're at the length -1. Okay, we can done. We're done. We're check. Um, But so that's why it's important. I need to do I plus 1, so less than the threshold. So that way we're checking the second number. Um, yeah. So in a way, we're not really, when we're doing I, you really think, oh, we're checking I. We're not really checking I. We're checking I plus 1, seeing if that number is working. See, because right, we got 2 here. The start is going good. So it's when we continue on, it's like I plus 1 working. Okay. I hope you guys kept track of that. I know it's a little confusing, um, but I tried my best to do it. Um, if you don't follow, then it's probably I probably could explain it better. Don't worry about it. So okay, so we check all the numbers, and then down here is just basic stuff. So we count so once we get the count. If the count is bigger than the biggest count so far, then we set the biggest to the current count, and then we reset the count. Simple as that. Um, yeah, I probably didn't have to do it exactly like this, but this was a mess to like kind of keep track of where everything was. So I was just like, keep these guys out here, and I can reset the count myself. And then simple enough, it returns the biggest, and yeah, as you can see, gives us a nice little 3 there, and we did it. So that's how I did week 352. Um, Longest even odd subarray with threshold. Yes, not too bad. Um, I think it's a lot in like symbols and numbers, and feel like what does all this mean? It means it's just alternating even and odd. It's that simple. Um, so yeah, next week, hopefully my friends aren't playing Mario Party, and I can be more concentrating with it. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys had a good week. Hope you guys have an awesome week. Um, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.